Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. This actually is video number 50. Can you believe it? I never thought it would go this far. I never thought I'd be making videos, but I've enjoyed them. It's a good outlet for my creative energy, and when I don't have time to write like I used to, it can be a good means for me to get out the things that I keep inside of me. Being that this is video number 50, when it's a big number video, I try to do something a little bit more personal than my other videos where I just kind of discuss my interests and dreams that I've had and times in my life and whatnot. So I'm going to try to do that here in this video. I'm going to start on one topic and we'll segue into the main thing. So if you've enjoyed any of my videos, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the like button. Give me a thumbs up. Tell me something you enjoy about this video, something you don't enjoy about this video. I love to read the comments. I don't get very many, but I always enjoy them. I try to, respond to them if I can. So in this video, being that it's number 50, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the holiday season. And here we are in the new year. This is my first video of 2021. Now, it's been about a month since I've made a video. I really did not intend that to happen. It's just that once I hit video 49, I had all these different ideas what I could do for video number 50. Like I said, when it's a big number, 25, 50, upcoming 75, I try to do things that are a little more on the personal side. Being that it was busy between Christmas and New Year's and prepping for New Year's and, of course, going through New Year's, and there were some personal things that were going on that kind of prevented me from, making more videos. I wanted to do this last year, but unfortunately it just didn't work out that way. So I had a good holiday season. Weather was nice. It really wasn't that bad. We spent Christmas Eve with my dad. Went over there and had dinner with him, my wife and I. And then Christmas Day we spent with my sister-in-law and her daughters. So it was really nice. It was peaceful, quiet. It was small, not a big gathering. We talked to most of our friends. We gave them a call, either people in New Orleans or family back in New York. We tried to email and send everybody cards this year. If we remember. We try to keep with older traditions because we're not so much into the new technological age as everybody thinks we are. And, then I was getting things prepped for New Year's. Had a lot of plans on the board for this year, and I've stuck to them really well. The only one that I haven't been able to do, unfortunately, was exercise. My plan was to start exercising again January 1st like I did last year. I was on a really good roll last year, and then the COVID crap came along, and I just lost my motivation, but I wanted to do it this year, and unfortunately I suffered a leg injury. I don't know what caused it. It started on December 26th, and ever since then I've been hobbling around and limping. Went to the doctor. They said that I've got a pulled muscle, but there's also some damage in my leg from a previous injury. They had asked me if I had any recent accidents or falls or anything like that, and I told them no. I might have had this injury for a long time. Could have possibly been some type of fracture in there, and I didn't know about it. So anyway, in the meantime, I'm taking my medicine. I'm trying to go easy on it. Not that you want to hear this stuff, but just kind of explaining some of the reasons why I haven't done a video in such a long time. Of course, the world is nuts. That affects me sometimes. I see it and it upsets me. There's nothing I can do about it, and I'm not here to save it, but it's still, upsetting. Anyway, let's get past all of that. So, Christmas was good. Like I said, we had a nice, peaceful Christmas with family. I'm not a material person. I know that doesn't really seem logical when you look behind me and you see all these video games, and if you were to see my movie collection and things like that. But, material things can only go so far. My sister-in-law, my wife, always get me the best Christmas presents because they get something from the heart. I'm really stressed around the holidays when it comes to giving gifts to people because how do you quantify how you feel about somebody, how you love them in a physical form? It's difficult. But, like I said, my wife and my sister-in-law, they know me really well, and they always get me the best gifts. So I wanted to just show you some of those quick, and that's going to segue into the main topic of today's video. So, my sister-in-law knows I'm a big video gamer. I have been since I was a little kid. I'll be 45 this month. I don't care. I'm going to be a gamer for the rest of my life. It's one of my outlets, my hobbies, something I've loved since I was a kid. So she got me these really cool pictures. One, I don't know if you can see with the reflection, this is a screenshot of Pac-Man, one of my all-time favorite video games. Galaga, another one of my all-time favorite video games. And, of course, the legendary Donkey Kong. 3 games I grew up playing in the arcades, 3 games I played at the home consoles. I've loved them my whole life. I always will. And then my wife went kind of overboard with the nostalgia / personal / awesome category and got me 2 really, really cool gifts. I mean, she got me 4 things, but I just want to highlight these. One, if you remember one of my videos, my favorite movie ever was Field of Dreams. She actually got me the original script of the movie signed by the entire cast. So that is freaking awesome. Thank you, sweetheart. And for those of you who also know me very well, you know that I'm a big sci-fi and horror buff. So she got me this cool picture. I don't know if you can see because of the reflection, but if you know me, you're going to know what this is. This is a shot, publicity shot of the cast from The Thing, John Carpenter's movie. I love that movie. That's one of the greatest movies ever, in my opinion. I think I did a video on that. I think I did. I wanted to do a video on that. But the coolest thing that my wife got me is what I'm going to talk about today in my 50th video. And I know I've kind of been rambling here for 5 minutes or so, but the best gift she got me was a taste of home. Now, for those of you who know me, you know, I'm living here in Houston, Texas. It's the 5th time I've actually lived in Texas. I've moved here in '99 originally, away from my home. Went into the Army, came back to Texas, moved to Pennsylvania to be closer to an Army buddy. Didn't work out, moved back to Texas. You know, went to Atlanta for work, moved back to Texas. We were in New Orleans for 9 years, made a lot of great friends, worked for a company down there recently, July 2017, moved back to Texas. But the last 5-6 years, well, now I can say 7 years since we're in 2021, a lot of times I miss home. Now, I realize that the home I left is not the home that's there now, but my hometown, Port Washington, New York, to me, was the geographically most beautiful place on earth. It was simple. It was this little town America, nothing special. You know, there's other places that I'm sure are more beautiful, but to me, it's like sentimental. New York, Long Island, it's where I grew up. It's where I come from. So my wife found this book by a gentleman named Roy Schneider. He's from Port Washington. Well, he's not originally from Port Washington, but he's been living there for 25 years. It's just a bunch of photos about my hometown and just history about Long Island in general. Mostly, you know, about Port Washington where I grew up, but I really appreciated that gift. It kind of reminded me of the home I left behind that I miss a lot of times. You know, I'm a very conflicted person. I'm a very contradictory person. There's this incredible balance that I deal with every day, the good and the bad, the evil and the positive. I don't know how to quite describe it. Like, I love my hometown, but I don't think I'd ever go back to my hometown. It's changed so much. But looking at these pictures, it just reminds me of home. It makes me feel a little bit closer to it, even though that home isn't there anymore. It's not really home anymore. It's where I came from. But, you know, I remember growing up there. I mean, typical small town USA, maybe there was 15,000 or so people in town. I never felt threatened. I never felt unsafe. I mean, as a kid, as a teenager, I used to walk all over the place. I mean, I would walk miles around town day and night. I never felt unsafe. I never had to look over my shoulder, you know. So I was fortunate in that, you know. A lot of places in this world I've been to a lot of places, you don't have that luxury. So I didn't really appreciate it when I was there, but looking back on it now, and I'm sure it's not quite the same now. You know, I've been home to New York a couple of times since I left, but it's just not the same, you know. So this book reminds me of the world I left behind. You know, I just remember growing up there. Again, the world was very different back then. This is pre-social media, pre-internet, pre-cell phones. People spent time together. You know, human interaction was an all-time high. You had that feeling of community. You don't have that nowadays. You spent time with your friends or your relatives. You just sat around a table. You had dinner. You had lunch. You talked. You interacted with people. You didn't do it over the internet. Unfortunately, that's just the way the world is now. But I really missed that a lot about town. I had a lot of family there. I had a lot of friends. just spent a lot of time with everybody, walking around town. Of course, my favorite place in the world is the town dock at the end of Main Street. My story that I wrote that I'm going to be trying to get published eventually, which I really need to focus on this year, is of course the story is set at the town dock. But there's a lot of other things to the town. Main Street, it was all these little mom and pop stores. You know, there was a lot of landmarks, a lot of famous and rich people lived there. Not that I give a crap about rich, famous people. I'm just saying a lot of well-known people in history have come from that area. It's just a beautiful little town. You know, it wasn't like the rest of the upper Northeast. It was kind of its own little thing. My uncle still lives there. A lot of friends still live there. And again, I miss it. I don't get a chance to go home very often. The last time was 2018. We spent a week there. Absolutely loved it. Just didn't really walk around town, but drove around my own hometown. And I really enjoyed it. So that book, you know, reading through that, looking at the pictures by this gentleman, was really lifted my spirits and kind of gave me the hope that I entered this year with. Like I said, we've got a lot of different plans that we're kind of going through this year, and we've really been sticking to it well. I know it's only been, you know, this is the 6th day of the year here, but so far, other than my injury that I'm dealing with, hobbling around here like a cripple, you know, which is disheartening, to be honest with you. It's very, I'm not accustomed to not being able to walk, to stand up, to do basic things, so it's frustrating for me. But it is what it is. It's not going to last forever. I'm going to recover, and I'm going to start exercising, and then pretty much everything we've set out to do this year, you know, we're going to be doing. So that's good. Anyway, back to home. You know, growing up on Long Island, unless you're from there or you've been there, it's just a different way of life. I never liked that fast-paced, cutthroat, you know, do whatever it takes, New York mentality. I never really fit in with that. But that wasn't prevalent as much as I thought it was in that area. You know, there's still a lot of people. Excuse me. I'm sorry, allergies. There's still a lot of good people up there that don't think like that. That their nose isn't high up in the air. That thinks their shit don't stink, or they're so much better than everybody else because they don't have you know, money, or they've got some kind of meaningless social status. I don't regret moving away from that. But I regret leaving my home sometimes, you know, had I not left my home, a lot of things never would have happened. But just reminded of, you know, when I was a kid, my grandparents would take me, they would close down Main Street sometimes and do this town fair. And Main Street was a very long street. It kind of went downhill in one direction, which led to the town dock. If you went the other way, Main Street would lead to Port Washington Boulevard, which were kind of like, you know, some of the arteries to get in and out of town. But they'd have the whole street closed, and it was just hundreds of people walking up and down the street, and you could buy stuff from vendors. You know, sometimes they would do these things at the town dock in the summer. They'd close the town dock to parking. They'd have all these tents set up, and you could go. You know, I met one of the Islanders there one time. Just little cool things like that. You know, driving around my hometown or riding bicycles with my cousin and my friends. It was just a different world. We felt safe. We never felt threatened. I mean, it was peaceful. It wasn't like it is today where everything is so important that you have to put yourself in an echo chamber or your own little bubble because, God forbid, somebody doesn't have your opinion and doesn't agree with you. I hate that about life, and I try not to be that way, and I don't have to like other people's opinions, but I do tolerate and respect their right to one. Unfortunately, I don't get that extended to me. A lot of times I've had people that don't feel that way, but I digress. Anyway, you know, my hometown and Long Island in general, like I said, just beautiful geographical place. My favorite things to do when I was a younger person was get in the car on a Sunday, put the windows down, you know, roll them down because I didn't have auto windows at the time. Put the little mixtape in the cassette deck and just drive with the windows open and the radio on. And I would drive through all these little beautiful, I would say hometowns, beautiful little towns and villages all over Long Island. Stop and get lunch in a little restaurant. Just, you know, we were a peninsula. We had water on 3 sides, so you could go so many different places and see so many amazing views of the Atlantic Ocean, of all these other bays and stuff. It was a beautiful place. It was a warm, welcoming place. it wasn't like New York City at all. Yeah, there was still a lot of snobby people up there who think they're better than everybody, but that's going to be anywhere you go, I think. It was a little bit stronger because it's being New York and, the coastal elite thing going on, but I was never like that. I really enjoyed my hometown. I really love Long Island. There were so many beautiful places to see, so many landmarks. We just had fun when we were kids. I missed the simpler lifetime. And I know, again, even if I was a billionaire, I would never move back because they'd want to take all my money. That's another story. Instead of keeping a budget or doing things right, let's just keep taxing the hell out of people. That'll solve everything. Anyway, I digress. But Long Island is just such a beautiful place. If you've never been there and you can ever have a chance to visit once this COVID crap passes, I would definitely recommend it. Just see all these little towns that time forgot. I mean, these little sea towns, I call them. Up and down 25A is one of the main arteries that goes up and down Long Island from one end to the other. It was about 70-something miles. Long Island's about 70-something, maybe, I don't know, between 70 and 100 miles long, maybe 20, 30 miles wide. And there's such a high concentration of people in there, but you have so much beauty there. And I miss that. Every place I've ever lived, nothing really matches up. There's not a lot of places to go where you could just drive around and enjoy the scenery like you could up there. And I miss that. It was refreshing. It would help me clear my mind. I'd put the radio on, feel the wind on my face, just get out for the day. I just miss the escape that I had when I was up there. Of course, there was other things to do. There was Mets games. I'd get on the train in my hometown because my hometown connected directly to New York City, which is probably why one of the main reasons that the property was so expensive up there was people that worked in the city would buy in port, just hop on the train, and you never had to drive in. But my friends and I would get on the train and go to the Mets games, or we'd hop on, get in my car, pile us all in there, and go to the Nassau Coliseum and watch the Islander games. There was Nathan's Hot Dogs that was on Long Island. It wasn't the original, which was Coney Island, but we'd go to Nathan's, and they had a big arcade in the back, which when arcades were kind of prevalent, we'd have lunch and we'd go spend a couple hours playing arcade games. We'd go to parks and walk around. We'd, of course, sit at the town dock and talk. I mean, there was just all these amazing things about Long Island and about Port Washington that you really don't get elsewhere. And I found that a lot of times I do try to fill that void, and I've never quite been able to. So when I got that gift from my wife, she got me the book, it just made me feel happy, feel like I was home again. So anyway, I don't want this video to go too long. It's been so long since I made a video. I just didn't quite know what I wanted to do with this one. I was kind of overthinking it, so I'm just going to leave it be as it is. It's been almost 20 minutes, so we're going to call it a night here. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments something you've enjoyed about it, something you didn't like about it. If you've enjoyed my channel, please subscribe. I'm not going to be taking a 3 to 4 week hiatus like I did over the Christmas and New Year holidays. Just with everything going on, it's been a little crazy, but I'm going to try to get back into doing the videos on a regular basis. Again, I'm going to go back to my strong points, just storytelling, just talking about my life. I still have to finish my series about my time in the Army. I still have some other videos I can do about dreams I've had. And of course, talking about video games, music, movies, the things that I really enjoy, just human life, basically. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you in the next one.